Tom Henderson is still pretty sure about PlayStation 5 Pro's existence and the fact that this console is coming out next year. So if this is all true, what Microsoft is going to do about it? Will they release Xbox Series X Pro too? Let's look into this. But before we look into it, let's check iniba.com. They offer games for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo and PC pretty cheap too. And right now they are running a couple of promotions. Destiny 2 promotion is still going on, Last of Us Part 2 for PC, Resident Evil remake promotion, and obviously top March games over here as well. So let's check some of these games. We've got Resident Evil, Last of Us, so all the biggest March games, well, not only March games, other two, God of War is still on offer over here. So let's check God of War maybe for Steam, because why not? Click it, now select the cheapest one, so let's go with this one, for example, buy now. Also you can add it to cart, to your cart, and add more games, and all you have to do now is just proceed to checkout and select a payment of your choice, and you are done. So guys, iniba.com, they've got great games, great selection of games, cheap games, so check it out. Okay guys, so PlayStation 5 Pro, there's quite conflicting information out there when it comes to PlayStation 5 Pro and its existence. Now, I'm sure you know Tom Henderson. I mean, I'm not saying that you know him personally, but I'm sure you've heard of Tom Henderson. He's a well-known insider. He's got that website Insider Gaming, I think it's called. And now he's also, I'm not sure if he started a podcast recently or something like that, but I've listened to his latest stream where he was talking about PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, first off, he doubled down on the existence of PlayStation 5 Pro. He said that he knows people that probably within Sony organization that basically tell him stuff. And he's still convinced that it's coming out next year, although plans may change. But I think this is the plan to release this game, to release PlayStation 5 Pro next year, probably late next year. It would actually make sense. He actually do have quite a lot of information on that console, but he doesn't really want to share it now because. And this is a kind of a new news or new information, because he says that there's a number of people, I would say limited amount of people that know about this console and all these details. And if he started talking about this information, he would burn bridges basically. I mean, if he shared some of the information, he could point to people that tell him stuff. So obviously he doesn't really want to do it. And what he's saying is that like in next couple of months, so basically this year still, there's going to be more people that will know about PlayStation 5 Pro. I mean, developers and stuff, because at the end of the day, if this information is true and if Sony is planning to release PlayStation 5 Pro next year, they will have to start sending at least some basic information about PlayStation 5 Pro to developers, right? Or at least first-party developers, right? I mean, first-party developers probably know about this console already, at least some of them, right? But I guess, the closer we will be getting to launch of that console, the more developers will have access to dev kits or at least some information and that kind of stuff. So we will actually, there will be leaks and stuff. Don't expect Sony official information and announcement of that console this year. That's probably going to be next year. And that's kind of cool. So looks like Tom Henderson is really, well, he's pretty sure about the existence of PlayStation 5 Pro, which is interesting because there's other people, YouTubers, not necessarily in the know, but hearing stuff, and like Tom of More Law is Dead channel, he was I think one of the first to actually talk about these consoles, and now he's not really convinced if it's coming. Paul of Red Gaming Tech is pretty much the same, like is of the same opinion, basically saying that he's not really sure about existence of PlayStation 5 Pro anymore. And so there's some conflicting information, but the thing is that like it may be the case that they've been working on a couple of projects. I remember when, and I'll talk about Xbox in a minute, or Xbox Series X Pro, if you like. But I remember when Phil Spencer announced, or at least in one of the interviews, when after they announced Xbox One X, he did say that they had two separate projects for that console. So they had a project that was more like a PlayStation 5 Pro when it comes to specs and stuff, like a smaller upgrade, or that proper Xbox One X upgrade over Xbox One at the time, right? So they did work simultaneously on both projects, but at some point they decided, okay, let's scrap this PlayStation 4 Pro so less powerful kind of version of that console. Let's go and let's chase that more powerful one because technology is available. So I would not be surprised if maybe the fact that we've got all this conflicting information, maybe it's coming because one of the projects have been cancelled, and because like when they prototyping, right? I mean, they may try different specs and different price tags and stuff, right? And at some point in the project they have to cancel some of these projects and go with that one particular one that they will chase. So maybe that's basically what's happening. Maybe some of the early projects or some other versions of that project got cancelled, and they finally decided to go with this particular one that Tom Henderson is talking about, right? I'm just speculating here, but it's sure is possible. Okay, so what about Microsoft? What Microsoft would do in such situation if this information is true, if PlayStation 5 Pro do exist? I think it's very likely that Microsoft is actually working on not only Xbox, next gen Xbox, as in, Xbox that's probably will arrive like in 2028, but I'm sure that they are at least, prototyping, checking, they do keep their hand on the pulse, and I'm sure that they are playing with technology, and I'm sure that, if you haven't watched that Paul's video from a couple of days ago where he was talking about that cancelled Xbox project, this is what I'm talking about. Like, they do test things out, they do scope things, they do play with that technology to see what fits, what works, what doesn't work and stuff. So I'm sure that Microsoft is working on something too. Now, will they be in a position to release something next year? I have no idea. Maybe, maybe not, right? But I would imagine that if Sony released PlayStation 5 Pro, I would imagine that Xbox would do that too. Not necessarily the same year, so maybe it would be a similar situation as with Xbox One X, where One X was released a year after PlayStation 4 Pro, right? So it's possible. And also, I think in general, and maybe I'll make a separate video about it because I've got some thoughts on it. But I think I did video about it a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. I genuinely think that both Microsoft and Sony should not stick to these generations anymore per se, right? Like, I would prefer to see these like mid-gen upgrades or upgrades overall, right? Like I don't want to wait for another console like 8 years, right? So both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles released in 2020. So that's like 2.5 years ago. So normally, like, 2 generations back, we would get new generation consoles like after 4 or 5 years. So 2025, right? But now with these consoles and like business changing a little bit, now they like to have these longer generations, but like, they need something in the middle actually to keep up with the latest technology, in my opinion. And I really do hope that this will work, that this is what we're going to get. I really do hope that PlayStation 5 Pro do exist and it will release next year. And I really do hope that Xbox will release their console, new console, more powerful console at some point in the future as well, around 2024, 2025 as well. Hopefully, these are my thoughts on it, really, because like I don't want to wait like 8 years for a new console. Like, remember Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 era, like especially Xbox 360, because like it was a little bit less powerful than PlayStation 3. Like the late Xbox 360 multi-platform games, because I'm not talking about exclusives, because like Halo 4 is still one of the best looking games on Xbox 360, or Project Gotham Racing for that matter. But like multi-platform games run and look like shit towards the end of that generation because technology was just too old. So we really need these upgrades, in my opinion, but we'll see how that goes. So anyway, guys, I think that's the video. These are my thoughts on it. I was not too active on the channel because I was too busy actually painting my house and stuff. But I'm back, and I'll be keeping you informed on these kind of stuff as well. So anyway, guys, that's the video. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Thanks for support. I really appreciate it. Check iniba.com for these, sweet deals, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.